All right, so we're off to work today, and we're maneuvering around construction equipment to drive one of our fancy cars to work. And what is it we should drive? Probably not a job trailer, but come on, still. How about this? How about our old Rambler with the white walls? I don't know if you guys recall, this is the car that my wife and I got married in many years ago, and did a bunch of work on it recently, actually about a year ago. New white walls, new front suspension, new shocks, I think, tie rod ends. Let's see if I can get the dog in the car. Sit still. He's gonna try to take off for a squirrel. It's been raining, so we're gonna do a really good presentation on our vacuum wipers. Get that towel in there. Dog doesn't get the seats all wet. Come on, stop. Here, up in there. Up in there. Come on. There you go. There we go. So let's walk around the car first and give you a little overview. It's a 1962 Rambler. I haven't even cleaned off all the packing blue stuff on the white walls yet because they're so fresh. In fact, the stickers were on them. You can see the stickers are still on them. They're that new. They were expensive, but worth it because the old ones were from 1965 and they were blistering. I think the tires were put on a few years after the car was born. The whole side of this car was wrecked when I got it. We put on a new fender, straightened the quarter panel and the door, and then repainted it two-tone. It was gold. The gold, like the interior, kind of a not so bright gold. I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. Now it looks like a fancy Easter egg. I love it. It's fantastic. I don't get to drive it enough. We took it out last night for our annual drive, I guess. Since we haven't driven it in a while, I needed to get it out, make sure the brakes work, the fuel system doesn't clog up, and that we can enjoy it. It was a really nice day yesterday. Today is rainy, and that brings me back to my point. Let's check out those vacuum operated wipers. So we'll get in the car and get it fired up, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so we're in the cockpit of our 1962 Rambler American. This is a 440 model. Let me find the right key here. It is not a super. I put the super tag on the rear trunk because I liked super better than 440. 440 means it's got the deluxe trim like this. It has the split bench seat. It has this one has the optional overhead valve engine and the overdrive transmission. 3 on the tree with overdrive sort of makes it a 5-speed, and I can explain that. Second and third gears are split. In other words, you have a low second and a high second and a low third and a high third, and you can switch between those by modulating the gas pedal and having the overdrive engaged. So this car has 40,000 miles. I got it with 28,000 miles originally, and I put that many miles on it. I drove to California twice from Oregon, and we've enjoyed it immensely. We might need to use the weather eye today because it is rainy, and we're going to use the vacuum operated wipers. I'll show you how that works. First, we're going to start the car. We'll give it a couple taps on the gas pedal. Push the clutch, make sure it's in neutral, which it is. Just starts right up. Purrs like a kitten. And then to engage the vacuum operated wipers, which is what we're all here for, there's a knob here on the dash that says wipers, and you turn that to the left, I think. Let's see, so I'm going to turn to the left, and that allows vacuum to go to the wiper motor, and you can adjust how much vacuum. Being it's idle, it has a lot of vacuum, so the more I turn it to the left, I can make the wipers go fast, or if I turn it back to the right, I can reduce the amount of vacuum to the wipers, and they can go super slow. Let's see if I can go. So they're sort of intermittent, but more like they're just really slow. So we'll turn them off for now. So wiped our window. The trouble with vacuum operated wipers you may be aware of is when you go up a hill and you're giving the car lots of gas, there's not a lot of vacuum in the engine, and the wipers slow down. Probably when you need them the most, when you're going up a hill and it's pouring down rain. So we're gonna take the emergency brake off, and we're gonna look around, make sure there's nobody around. There isn't. Cars coming, and off we go. Smooth as butter. And we got Dirty Dog in the back seat enjoying the ride. This car is really a delight to drive. Let's shift up to second gear. You can see the dash pad's got a little blemish from, I don't know, some adjustment issue between the shifter and the dash. Dash pad's a little cracked. I guess you got to give it a little something. It is a 60-year-old car, yeah, something like that. Just smooth, just a delight to drive. Put it down in third. I'm not using the overdrive now. I usually only turn that on for the highway, but it's just quiet, smooth, comfortable. The seats are like couches. It's a pretty cool car. Has a great horn. Turn that on for you. Has 2 trumpets under the hood. They sound great. The horn ring looks great. It's a little faded, but I really enjoy this car. Don't get to drive it enough. So we're going to continue on our way to work and enjoy the day. Probably do a little walk around once we get there. It's kind of nice to have a refreshing rainy day. While we're waiting here at the stoplight, I thought I'd go through a couple of the engine specifics. This has a straight 6 overhead valve engine. I think it's 130 horsepower. It was the big engine for its time. 196 cubic inches with a single carburetor. It's very smooth. It's very responsive. It's very torquey. It's kind of fun to drive. It doesn't have a ton of power up top, but not designed for that. It runs perfect. Runs really good. The clutch is all mechanical. In other words, it's mechanical linkage, like back in the old days. No hydraulics, no self-adjusting anything. The brakes are all drum. They work all right. No power steering, no air conditioning, no power windows, no ABS, no airbags, no nothing. It's just an old car, and I love it. Still has the original radio, which is a tube radio. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Has the vents you pull on the sides. Also has vent windows that you can open to let fresh air in, blow on your face. And it's just a throwback to another time. It's pretty cool. Headliner's in great shape. Rear view mirror works good. My puppy dog is in the back seat, enjoying her time cruising in a classic Rambler. All right, so we made it to our final destination. We're at the shop, and we're driving our fine Rambler American. That is so super. And when I say super, look at this thing. It is just gorgeous. And it is super. I love this car. I don't get to drive it enough. It's super fun. It's very quiet. It's very comfortable. It's a cruiser, and it's great for going out on dates or taking the kids someplace. You can see my brand new tires. White walls are getting dirty already. Oh well, it's a rainy day. We'll clean those up and make them work. The stickers are still on. You can still see I haven't even wore the stickers off yet. I love this thing. It's very self-preserving. It's safe. It's very highway capable. Easily goes 70 miles an hour. Can go faster. I don't have a tach, so I don't know where the engine reads going that fast, but I really love it. And I think I'll pop the hood for you here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I think so. If I can find the release. Here it is. There it is. Okay. Oh, it doesn't have trumpet horns. It's just got the snail horns. I thought it had trumpet horns. So we have a 6-cylinder. Like I said earlier, I think it's 196 CID, which is roughly, is that 3 liters? 3.1 liters, I think. I think 180 is 3 liters. This is 196, a little bigger than that. It's very snappy. It's a 1-barrel. Doesn't have a lot of power. I think it's 120 or 130 horsepower. But it's very torquey and has great throttle response. I really like that. Of course, manual brakes, manual regulator, or I should say a generator, 12-volt negative, optional oil filter, just an old-fashioned super thick radiator. Just everything is super simple. You can see the heater or HVAC system takes up most of the firewall. It's a pretty good old girl, I tell you that. It gets almost 30 miles per gallon on a straight level stretch of I-5, which is pretty amazing for a 3,000-pound car. All right, I'm gonna close this video out. Thanks for coming for a ride. I was gonna see if I could show you the vacuum operated wipers, but they are behind the cowl, so I can't really show you that. Love this thing. Super fun to ride in a Rambler.